there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping into the shoes of dedicated students to tackle something absolutely profound: how we actually perceive reality. We aren't here to just casually scroll through ideas, right? We're going to work together to really challenge our foundational beliefs and strip away those comfortable illusions we all carry around. So get ready to take some serious mental notes because we're jumping right in. I want you to be totally honest with yourself for a second. Are you actually examining the world right now, or are you just recycling the conditioning that's been stuffed into your head? As students of life, we have to recognize that what most of us confidently call thinking is often just memory playing on a continuous loop. We just pull up what we did yesterday, or what society told us was the right way to be, and we blindly project it onto tomorrow. But is that truly thinking, or is it just an automatic reflex? And that brings us to a massive modern crisis. As Nietzsche's philosophy suggests, today we are literally overdosing on content, but we are starving for clarity. You really have to start asking yourself if the information you consume every day, the podcasts, the reels, the articles, actually challenges you, or if it merely comforts you. Does it give you genuine direction, or just a cheap, quick hit of dopamine? If we want to be active learners, we absolutely must reject the feel-good packaging. You see, society is basically training us in sophistry. Sophistry is this ancient art of teaching you how to win an argument and defend your side regardless of the actual facts, treating truth like it doesn't even exist. But true philosophy, which literally translates to the love of truth, requires the courage to prioritize reality over victory. It's not about finding the ultimate comeback for your political ideology. It's about being totally willing to lose an argument if it means discovering what is actually real. So here's the kicker. When we approach life carrying all these prepackaged beliefs handed down from our upbringing or our environment, our ability to inquire is already crippled. We're paralyzed before we even start. We turn into people who just unconsciously hunt for proof to support the conclusions we were handed as kids. To be true students of reality, we have to call out these inherited beliefs for what they are: absolute poisons to free inquiry. All right, let's move into section 1, methods of acquiring truth. Because if we're going to actually dismantle these inherited poisons, we first need to establish exactly how it is that we come to know anything at all. So there are 5 recognized methods we use to acquire knowledge. Think of it like a ladder. Down at the bottom, we move from flawed gut feelings and unquestioned authority, stepping up to rationalism, which uses logic, and empiricism, which relies on observation. And finally, at the very top, we reach the rigorous scientific method, systematically collecting and evaluating evidence. As students, your first job is to figure out exactly where your current knowledge sits on this ladder. And the danger of getting stuck on those bottom rungs? It's huge. Relying solely on authority, accepting ideas just because your parents, the media, or the government stated they are true, makes us incredibly vulnerable. Unquestioningly following authority has historically led to unspeakable atrocities, from the Salem witch trials to massive global conflicts. That is exactly why we must elevate our method. We literally have to become skeptical scientists of our own lives. Which brings us to Section 2, updating your mental map. Armed with these new critical tools, we now face a really tough assignment: the painful, ongoing task of revising our worldview when we slam into new, objective realities. Think about it like this. We all build a mental map to help us navigate the world. But what happens when you find new information that proves your map is completely upside down? Well, most people expend all their energy fiercely defending their outmoded, comfortable map rather than doing the hard work to correct it. They denounce the new reality, they call it fake, they get angry. Redrawing a map is terrifying for sure, but ignoring reality? That is just a slow intellectual death. Let's use a striking analogy here. Without exposing your map to the challenges and criticisms of others, you are basically living inside a closed system. It's like being trapped in a bell jar, just rebreathing your own fetid air inside a closed illusion. A life truly dedicated to truth means continuous, stringent self-examination. We have to boldly invite the challenge. And that leads us to Section 3, the unexamined ego. This is the most dangerous blind spot of all. Consider this the ultimate plot twist in your intellectual journey. We might sit there and think we are these brilliant rationalists. We demand evidence, we scoff at silly superstitions, we use razor-sharp logic to tear apart other people's arguments. But it's so incredibly easy to completely forget to turn that critical lens inward. We challenge the external world brilliantly, but we give our internal world, ourselves, a total free pass. And here is the core issue. The rationalist ego is actually the deepest superstition of them all. It loves to investigate religion, it questions tradition, but it treats its own existence, its own identity as the thinker, as totally self-evident and beyond questioning. If we dismantle every other belief out there without examining the I that is doing the examining, we haven't freed ourselves at all. We've just revealed the primary superstition in naked form. Enter epistemology. This is where it gets real. It's not just asking, what do I know, but how do I know it? And crucially, who is the I doing the knowing? We cannot reliably use a distorted, ego-commanded mind to examine its own distortion. Just as a psychiatrist has to undergo their own therapy to understand their blind spots before treating anyone else, we must critically observe the observer within ourselves. The framework for pulling this off is called the via negativa. See, truth isn't some shiny object we achieve, collect, or add to our mental trophy case. It's approached by negation. Truth is simply what remains when we relentlessly strip away our false beliefs, our inherited biases, and our errors. It's the progressive dissolution of our own distortions. Let's dive into Section 4, the mechanics of thinking. To truly execute this negation, my fellow students, we have to look very, very closely at the actual machinery humming inside our heads. We have to draw a hard line between thinking and learning. Thinking, often, is just a dead reflex of the past. It's mere memory demanding security. You face a new situation, and your brain instantly, frantically searches its archives for an old answer. That is not learning. True learning is a state of active, unbiased observation. It's looking at something totally fresh, without the heavy baggage of yesterday's conclusions. If you really bother to inquire, if you watch your own mind closely, you'll realize that your habitual thoughts have exactly one desperate objective: to secure the insecure thinker. Thought just wants continuation. It wants to feel safe. And because it's largely pre-programmed by society, when we mistake this mechanical, robotic movement of memory for ultimate truth, it brings about deep irrationality and conflict. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the courage to inquire. Breaking free from this programmed repetition isn't just some casual weekend hobby. It requires an immense, almost reckless amount of courage. Habit is a master of disguise. It loves to dress up as choice. Recognize this without flinching. No habit is a truly good habit if it's just unconscious repetition. Even if society pats you on the back and calls it a good habit, that unconscious repetition is a total killer of intelligence. When we operate on habit, we vanish. We literally become puppets dangling on invisible strings, just reacting like a reflex in a dead body. So, the choice falls to us. What's it going to be? Are you going to be a believer who quickly settles for cozy binary answers? Or will you be an inquirer who attends to reality openly, without a predetermined objective, fully embracing the pain of constantly revising your map? Because an inquiry with a predetermined intent isn't an inquiry at all. You're just going to find exactly what you already asked for. Let's be real, true confidence is usually just a cheap illusion used to mask deep insecurity and ignorance. What we actually need as students of life is honesty, the pure honesty to suspend our conclusions, to tolerate the burning discomfort of not knowing, and to stay present with the messy, confusing process of real investigation. This right here is our daily homework. We must start paying ruthless attention to ourselves in both the big, life-altering moments and the tiny, mundane ones. Watch your reactions, your choices, your words. You have to start asking, are my actions driven by genuine, open-ended insight, or am I just mechanically sleepwalking through a script someone else wrote for me? So, my final challenge to you, as a fellow student of reality, is this. Let go of the map that no longer serves you. Shatter the lens of your own unexamined ego. Embrace the profound discipline of the via negativa, and step completely out of the bell jar. Step into the terrifying, magnificent freedom of the unknown. Are you ready to stay uncertain and stay alive?